Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football, taking a look at one of the more intriguing matchups in the Week 1 slate as Texas Tech, a team that I'm extremely high on heading into the 2023 season, goes on the road to play the Wyoming Cowboys. And having talked to a lot of Texas Tech fans in the comment section, I know they're not overlooking this game. I mean, Wyoming is a quality team that returns a ton of production on the defensive side of the ball. And when you go on the road to Wyoming, that is not a very easy place to win a football game. It's going to be a good game. Going to dive into some of the key matchups to take a look at now. Before we do again, just want to say thank you to you guys. It's been a blast taking these deep dives all summer long into these teams and then getting down to the game breakdowns. You guys have shown a ton of support. So one, if you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. But more importantly, let me know in the comment section who you guys are rocking with, who your pick is for this game. We'll chop it up there. That's the best part about doing this, is just talking ball with you guys. Really do appreciate all the support you guys have shown. I'm having a blast chopping it up. Now let's get into this matchup where I want to start with Wyoming on the offensive side of the ball. I think the strength of this unit is in the defense. They return a lot of production, but a lot of the narrative around Texas Tech is that this defense is going to take a step back. And I don't know if you guys listened, took about 2 weeks ago, took a deep dive into this Texas Tech defense. This is a defense that, although you lose Tyree Wilson, who I get was a phenomenal player, reason he went top 10 in the draft, you lose your leading tackler in Merriweather. I think Coach McGuire has this team a more talented and deeper, more importantly, deeper on the defensive side of the ball. And how they match up against Wyoming, Wyoming's a very one-dimensional offense. I mean, Andrew Peasley is a solid quarterback when it comes to the short and intermediate game and running the football. That being said, when you ask him to sit back in the pocket and go dissect the defense through the air, pushing the ball down the field, that's really where he struggles. 10 touchdowns to 9 interceptions, a very low completion percentage. Wyoming is going to want to run the football. And I think when you look at the biggest story of this game is, can Wyoming stay on schedule, consistently run the football against this Texas Tech front seven? And that's probably where I think this game is won. Because if Texas Tech can get Wyoming behind the chains, get them in 3rd and long, and start turning up the heat in terms of the pass rush with guys like Steve Litton, Miles Cole, I mean, it's going to be a long day for Wyoming because that is not really their game. So taking a look at this matchup, Wyoming can run the football effectively. How does Texas Tech stop this run? I, for one, love the inside of this Texas Tech defense. I mean, you take a look at Jalen Hutchins, Tony Bradford Jr. They've been there so long. They've been such a quality duo inside. And you add a guy like Steve Litton, Miles Cole. I don't think Wyoming will have as much success running the football as they've had against other Mountain West teams. And when you take the running game away from Wyoming and you force Andrew Peasley to throw the ball down the field, I think it's going to be a long day. And what Texas Tech probably going to do is walk in a safety into the box, kind of load the box, and ask Andrew Peasley to beat them with his arm. And you take a look at this Texas Tech defense. This is something we've talked a lot about. Malik Dunlap, Rashad Williams, I think, are two of the better cornerbacks in the Big 12. I don't have a ton of confidence in Wyoming winning those one-on-one matchups on the outside with Andrew Peasley throwing the ball. So I think Texas Tech has a lot of success stopping this Wyoming offense. Now, the next story is Texas Tech on offense was very good. I mean, besides the turnovers, a very efficient and effective offense last year. Can they score the ball on Wyoming enough to cover the 14.5 points? That's where the line is sitting right now, outside of 2 touchdowns. My answer to that is I don't know if you've seen Wyoming play a passing attack as potent and as dynamic as Texas Tech, right? And when you did see them play that attack, BYU last year, they gave up 337 yards to Jaron Hall and 4 touchdowns. They kind of got pieced up in the secondary. So the question is, can Wyoming, with all that returning production, stop this Texas Tech passing attack? I don't think so, just because we haven't seen Wyoming stop a passing attack as explosive as Texas Tech. And I think it starts with Tyler Shuck. I mean, I feel like people forget, as exciting as Donovan Smith was sometimes and made some throws and got it done with his legs, he turned the ball over a lot and the consistency wasn't necessarily there. Tyler Shuck, you don't have as many worries about the consistency. He takes care of the ball. He makes the throws that he has to make. And I don't think Wyoming has the defensive backs to really keep up with what Texas Tech has in the wide receiver room. One of the deepest and explosive wide receiver rooms you see. I mean, Jerram Brantley, Loic Fungi, Miles Price, Dre McCray coming in over the transfer portal is an absolute burner. I don't know if they have the guys. And Texas Tech is a more balanced team than people think. I mean, Taj Brooks can get it done running the football as well. So when I take a look at this game, I see Texas Tech having the advantage on both sides of the football. I think they're a little bit more of a dynamic offense, and I think their defense is getting a little bit undervalued. So that gets us to kind of the pick here, right? Texas Tech as a 14.5-point favorite on the road at Wyoming. One thing is, I'm happy that this game is being played early in the season, because if you have to go on the road to Wyoming in late November, it's cold, it's windy, you'd be looking at a different kind of matchup where you question, is Texas Tech going to be able to throw the ball around the yard like they can? Playing early September, I don't think the weather and the wind will be as big of a factor, although definitely keep an eye on that. I think I do like Texas Tech being able to move the football. Now, can they cover 2 touchdowns? I would take them to cover the 14.5 points. Do I love the pick? Probably not, just because Wyoming, at the end of the day, is a very hard team to go on the road and win against. And now you're talking about beating them by 2 touchdowns. Craig Bohl has done a phenomenal job at this Wyoming program. But I think Texas Tech and this is kind of what it boils down to, is I think Texas Tech just has the dogs on both sides of the football that Wyoming just doesn't. And so when you ask some of those one-on-one matchups, when Andrew Peasley's trying to go one-on-one against some of these talented cornerbacks for Texas Tech, I don't think Wyoming has the juice to win those matchups. And then when Texas Tech is on the field on offense, I don't know if Wyoming, although they bring back a ton of production, and it sounds like I'm sleeping on this Wyoming team, I don't know if they have the guys, the caliber of athletes to go up against the Texas Tech offense that has a bunch of NFL caliber dudes in the wide receiver room, combined with Tyler Shuck, who does not turn the ball over as much as Donovan Smith did last year. If Texas Tech limits the turnovers, they play good football, they win and score touchdowns in the red zone, it's hard for me to sit back here and look at Wyoming keeping this one inside of 3 touchdowns. I like Texas Tech going on the road, beating this Wyoming team, but I will say, do not sleep on this Wyoming team, especially going on the road. This is a tough team. I know Texas Tech fans are excited, and I think one of the most exciting things is we're going to get a good sense of what this Texas Tech team is going into week 2, where they have to play Oregon. They're hot on the they're really hot coming off that 2022 year. Wyoming, 3 straight losses. Give me the Red Raiders, a team that I love heading into 2023. Again, appreciate you guys rocking with the boys as usual. And if you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.